Hello guys, welcome back to Ielts Made Easy. So in my last video, I did talk about Ielts writing task 1 for general test takers, and that was about letter writing. Today, I'm going to talk about report writing, which is also Ielts writing task 1, but it is for the academic test takers. So guys, let's get started. But before I get started, I would definitely urge you all to watch this video till the end because I'm going to share some key pointers and tips and tricks with you. And also, if you know somebody who's preparing for IELTS, do share this clip with him or her. So now, like I did say last time also, this IELTS writing task 1 is letter writing for general test takers and report writing for academic. So today we would be talking about report writing, and this is for academic IELTS aspirants. Well, what I would suggest to you all is to spend 20 minutes approximately to IELTS task 1 in the writing module, because the essay will be taking more of your time and the essay has a bit more weightage too. I think I told this already to you. So try to have your 20 to 22 minutes on this task 1, which is report writing for academic test takers, so that you can have your major time on essay. So with this, I'll get started. So IELTS report writing module is basically about making a report, something that we have done back in our college days. I'm sure all of us know about statistics and statistical bars and charts and maps, etc. So this is all about this only. It's pretty easy, and if you know the standard practices, rules and guidelines, I'm sure you'll be through it. So what happens generally is mostly you would be getting 2 pie charts or a pie chart or a bar graph, or a pie chart, a bar graph and a line chart, and you would be seeing some comparisons that is happening among different countries for a specific thing, maybe for expenditure or for fuel, for petroleum expenditure, or maybe GDP, or maybe different sectors. That would be clearly visible and understandable in a question. Now, what you have to do is that you have to summarize all the information and you have to write in at least 150 words of what you are seeing. Remember that words funda, right? For IELTS writing task 1, be it letter or report, we should at least write 150 words, wherein we can exceed up to 180 to 190 words, right? So yes, so you would be given charts and bar graphs or pie charts or line graphs, and you will have to summarize everything and write a report. Please understand that write only what you are seeing. Don't write something of your own. I'll tell you what I mean regarding this, but before that, let me explain you the structure. So the first structure or the first paragraph will talk about the introduction. Say suppose you have a question that talks about the overall expenditure in different categories in India, US, Canada and UK, right? So if that is written in the question, in introduction, you will have to paraphrase it and write the same thing. When I say paraphrase, you will have to use kind of different words and write the same thing, right? So first para would be your intro, then the second para would be your overview, as in overall what you are seeing in the chart. So maybe the highest points and the lowest points, the highest fluctuation and the lowest fluctuation, those things can be captured when you are writing the overview, which is the second para. And the third para would be the body paragraph. So here again, you will have to elaborate a bit. Maybe you will have to compare India with US, US with Canada, Canada with UK, some kind of significant features that you see. Some parts which you see were more in India than in other countries, or some part that were more in US, Canada or UK than India. So you will have to do the comparisons and write accordingly, right? But then make sure that you at least write 150 words and try to have only a 20 to 22 minutes in this task, because essay will take more of your time and the writing module is for an hour. And do remember that report writing is for the academic IELTS aspirants, the academic test takers. All right. So like I said, the first para would be introduction, the second para would be the overview, and the third para would be body paragraph. So first paragraph will just talk about, it would be the repeat of question, but you will have to write it in your own words. Second paragraph would be kind of overall, what are you seeing? What are the highest points and the lowest points in the graph? And the third paragraph would be the basic description of what you're seeing. So the comparisons between the graphs, the comparisons between the countries, the comparisons between the categories, right? Make sure, like I explained you last time, similar to letter writing, make sure that you start your overview and your body paragraph with a linker, like furthermore, on the other hand, to add on, while, and make sure you put a comma after that. So what is linker? Linker is a word that maintains the flow between two paragraphs. So that particular word, that word connects paragraph A and paragraph B, right? So in IELTS English exam, these linkers and paraphrasing and all plays a very important role. So make sure that you use it. The more you use, the higher your band score would be, right? So I would see if I can give you an example. So before that, I'll definitely add these words in the description. But here are some of the words that you can use, because these would be mainly graphs, and you would be seeing some graphs declining, some graphs rising high. So I'll put them in the description. However, I'm going to talk about it here as well. So these are called the words of approximation, which you can use freely and comfortably when you're writing reports. This is for the academic test takers, okay? So I'm just going to spell those words. However, I would be putting the same in the description as well. So about, around, just over, dissimilar trends, similar trends, under, exactly, which accounted for, over double, whereas, prices rose steadily, prices rose sharply, after major minor fluctuations, dissimilar patterns, similar patterns, stark contrast, drop to half, as it is evident, striking upsurge, dramatic increase, climbing from, plunged from, saw a drop off, together they encompassed. The biggest two items of expenditure increased roughly in the following year, between this year and this year. So guys, these are the words, as you can see, plunged from, climbing from, whereas, over double, under, under, exactly, just over. So these kind of words you can freely use in your graph, because these are words of approximation, and it is a high band score word, right? So now I'll just give you an example so that you have an idea of how is it that you are going to write. So there's suppose a chart, there are a few charts that is given, and now, so it is one of the practice sample that I had written, and I'm just sharing across with you guys. So introduction would be, the chart illustrates the amount spent on the consumer goods, cars, computers, books, perfume and cameras in 2010 in the UK and France, and units are measured in pounds sterling. Okay, so this was a question which was asked, and what I have done is I have rephrased it, written the same thing but using different words. But I have to see that the facts remains the same. Consumer good is the same, year is the same, countries are the same, and the measurement unit is the same, right? Don't make changes in that. Just rephrase the sentence, right? Then my overview will be, overall the expenditure in the UK was higher than France for a given period. Both the British and the French spent more amount on cars, whereas the UK paid out the least on perfume compared to France, with the minimum expenditure on the cameras. Furthermore, there is a significant difference in the amount spent on cameras between the UK and France. Now what I did in my second paragraph, which is the overview, overall I wrote everything, and I highlighted the significant rise and the falls that I can see in the graph, right? Those major junctions in the graph. So I just wrote that. Now I'll expand a bit. That would make up my body paragraphs. So in terms of cars, the UK spent over some amount which is there in the graph, as opposed to France at whatever amount it's there in the graph. Similarly, for books, both the British and French spent amounts, it would be written in the graph, don't worry, respectively. However, for cameras, the UK spent over this, which was over double than France, which was at this. On the other hand, the expenditure of France was higher than the UK for the remaining consumer goods. For computers, French pay out some amount compared to the British, which was about this. Both France and the UK paid very less for the perfume, which accounted to some amount and under this amount respectively. So what I am doing is, guys, don't worry about the amounts. You just have to write what is there in the graph. So don't worry about that. So in the body paragraph, what I have done, I have just compared. So I took the sectors or the consumer goods areas where UK spent more. So I took that as a first point and I elaborated. Then I considered the categories where the French people spent more of their money, and I elaborated that in the body paragraph. So you need to follow a trend when you're writing a report, and that's it. So the first thing would be introduction. Whatever you're seeing in the question, you have to write the same facts, but you have to change words here and there, paraphrase the sentence. The second is the overview. Overall, what is the picture that graph is giving, right? So what are the highest and the lowest points of fluctuation that you're seeing? At some point of time where the UK spent the highest amount, and that is the highest amount in the graph that you can write, or at some point of time where France spend a very lowest amount. So those are the striking points of the graph, right? It is clearly evident and visible. So those clearly evident and visible points you have to write in your second paragraph under overview. And the third one is the body paragraph, where you'll have to elaborate a bit. You really need to compare that between this and this time, the UK had spent more money, that amount, you take it from the graph, it's clearly mentioned there. And between this and this time, France spent more money on these sectors or these consumer goods sectors or these categories, right? So everything is there in the graph. You just have to write a report out of it. Don't write anything extra, guys. Don't write that I foresee that in future France will be spending more than the UK, than India, than US, than Canada. Don't write all that. You just need to write what you see. And just see that you start your sentences with linkers and you paraphrase your sentence, but the facts should remain as is. It should be intact, right, guys? And try to start your overview paragraph with a linker called overall, because that's the most commonly used linker for the second para of report writing for academic aspirants. And mostly I have seen it starts with overall. So start with overall, right? Overall I see. I would just repeat what I wrote here again. Overall, the expenditure in the UK was higher than France for a given period, right? Now, one thing, if the years in the graph are past years, then when you're writing your overview and your body paragraph, write in the past tense. However, the introduction, the 2-3 liners where you're paraphrasing, keep it in present. All right, very important point. But if you see that the entire graph talks about the future, then get into the future tense. And that transition to the past or the future should happen only for the overview and the body paragraph. Let the introduction paragraph be always in present tense, right? So if it's for the past year, just get into your overview and body paragraph and write them in past. If it's for the future, do that. If it's for the present, write your overview and body paragraph in the present. But in all the cases, have your introduction in present tense, right? Like I just wrote. The chart illustrates the amount spent on the consumer goods in 2010 in the UK and France. Units are measured in pounds sterling. So I have not just, everything is cooked out of my mind here. No, it's not like that. It's written in the question and I have just paraphrased it or rephrased it or written it in my own words. Right, guys? So this is all about report writing. Starts with introduction, paraphrase it, rephrase it, put it in present tense, have all your facts captured from the graph and the question. Second is overview. Start with overall as a linker and then write what you can see as the significant sections or points or the striking points in the graph. The maximum highs, minimum lows, where you can see is a steady line or no growth at all. So those significant points should be captured. All right. And body paragraphs, please make sure that you write it in a little descriptive way and make comparisons. So in this case, like the sample that I wrote, so in this case, in which consumer good categories UK spent more, and then I'll go that in this consumer good categories France spent more. So try to follow a trend when you write a body paragraph, right? And just make sure that you start the overview and the body paragraph with linker. Try to use overall linker when you are writing overview. Body paragraph you can have on the other hand, furthermore, add on, while, and use words of approximation while you're talking about the graph, right? So those are words of approximation. So it's like over, under, just over 50%, just under 50%. So I'll write the words of approximation down in the description. Use those words when you're actually comparing or when you are writing the most significant point in the overview section, right? So I'll write everything, and just stick to all these pointers, guys. There's nothing more than that when it comes to report writing, and I'm sure you would be getting a good band when it comes to report writing. And again, guys, task achievement is one of the key scoring rubrics when it comes to IELTS writing. So make sure that you complete the report, and make sure that you at least write 150 words. And if you want to extend up to 180 to 190 words, right? And one more thing, like I told, that don't write beyond what you see. Just write what you see. Don't write that I think now France will do this, India will do this, UK will do this. No, whatever you are saying, you just have to capture, summarize, and make a report out of it. All right, guys. So I would go ahead and write those words in the description. Let me know if you still have any doubt. Just drop me a comment. I would be definitely answering back to you. And guys, one thing, this is specially for IELTS test takers. So please share it with somebody who's actually going to appear in IELTS. I'm sure it would be beneficial for him or her. Okay then, take care, and I'll come back again and I'll start with the essay writing. I think I'll take 2 topics in one video, as the video would be very long. So stay tuned. I'll get started with essay writing soon, and take care. See you around. Bye bye. Cheers. Bye.